Deep dives and blue skies. Welcome back to Talking Blue with Nick, the best Dodgers analytical podcast that you can find.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Talking Blue, best Dodgers analytical podcast that you can find. I am your host, Nick, and today we're going to recap the Dodgers and Padres series, the 4-game series that ended Thursday night. Before we get into all of that, some injury updates, the 4 games, all the drama that happened at the end of the 4th game, all that. You can get this podcast on Apple Podcasts. You can get it on Spotify. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Turn on the notifications so you don't miss any of the updates. Follow us on TikTok. We've been popping off on TikTok. The followers have been increasing. A lot of views and likes on a lot of my last recent videos, so that's really cool. Subscribe and follow us on Reddit at competitive-week8715. At Talking Blue Pod is where we're at on all social media. Like I said, TikTok. We're also on Instagram. We're also on X. My personal X is Talking Blue Nick. I have been live tweeting like always, dropping some information and some stats on there, so you can follow me on X if you like some Dodger stuff as well. So let's go ahead and get into the 4 games. Dodgers take 3 out of 4 from the Padres, which is massive. So they take each series against the Padres, Giants, Padres. So that's really big. First, we'll do some injury updates. Of course, there's kind of a lot going on with the roster and some guys coming up, going down, injuries and stuff like that. Thankfully, the Dodgers are getting a little bit more fortunate with these injuries and guys coming back. Not all the way there yet, though. So Tony Gonsolin was transferred to the 60-day injured list. Probably will be done for the year, but we'll have to see what happens there. One of the best updates in terms of injuries is Tyler Glasnow. I've talked about him and Snell as the 2 big, important guys that the Dodgers need to come back. Glasnow is definitely ahead of Snell. Which is kind of funny because Snell went down before Glasnow, but I guess you could say Glasnow's injury, or I guess clearly his injury was less significant. He threw about 2 innings, 40 pitches on Tuesday against live hitters. So that's a really good update. I would imagine he'll either throw 1 more live or maybe get an actual rehab start in. So that's really good. Blake Snell continues to throw his bullpen sessions. Not much an update on Roki. Same thing, Blake Trinan, he continues to throw bullpen sessions. Edgardo Henriquez, he threw back-to-back for the first time in Oklahoma City. That's a young reliever who came up at the very end of last season. So that's pretty much all the injury updates. Of course, Emmett Sheehan comes back to make his return in this series. We'll get to that. And then, of course, Shohei Ohtani pitched in Game 1. So let's go ahead and start with the first game. This was, of course, played on Monday, June 16th. Shohei Ohtani makes his return to the mound. He takes on Dylan Cease. You guys remember from the last series, I was so excited to see it. It's kind of funny because so much has happened since then. It's almost like you forget about this, but this was the story coming into this series. So we'll go ahead and start off that game. So, of course, Shohei Ohtani takes the mound. Assumed he would only go 1 inning. So in that first inning, a long at-bat to Fernando Tatis. He gets on a bloop single. Eventually, Luis Arraez would single to make it first and third. With Manny Machado up, Ohtani fails to get a strike 3 check swing called his favor. Machado clearly went around, but they didn't call it, so it was called the ball. He then hits a sac fly to center field, so the Padres go up 1-0. Ohtani would then get out of the inning after 2 groundouts, so Shohei goes 1 inning. We'll just continue with the rest of the game. So Padres go up 1-0. Later on in the 3rd inning, after Dylan Cease started this game looking really dominant, Shohei Ohtani, of course, the starting pitcher, hits a 2-out double into left center field to make it 1-1. The Padres would get it back on the board. Xander Bogaerts doubles to make it 2-1. But then in the 4th inning, Dodgers tallied together a lot of runs. Max Muncy would single into right center to put the Dodgers up 3-2. Then Tommy Edman would follow that up with a single, 4-2 Dodgers. Then Shohei Ohtani with another RBI. He bloops one in, 5-2. Same thing, Mookie Betts, a bloop single. Dodgers go up 6-2. Later on in the sixth, Manny Machado would homer off Ben Casparius. He homers into right field, so it's now 6-3 Dodgers. But that would be the final score. Dodgers win 6-3. Shohei Ohtani for 1. Anthony Bonda goes 2/3. Ben Casparius, like we assumed, gets the bulk of the game. He goes 3 2/3. Vesia goes 2/3. Kopech for 1. Tanner Scott for 1. Alex Vesia for 1. He gets the save. Dodgers win. So they take game 1. So we'll mainly talk about Shohei, and then we'll talk about some of the offense and the bullpen really quickly. Like I said, it's 4 games in this series, so I want to quickly kind of go through the games, and then we'll talk about some of the Dodgers rivalry stuff and all the hit by pitches, benches clearing, and stuff like that. So Shohei Ohtani, he ends up going 1 inning like we predicted. He did throw 28 pitches, so that is a lot of pitches for the first inning, which clearly shows to me that he is built up much past that. Like we've talked about, he's thrown about 45 pitches in his lives and stuff like that. So he is built up, because if he was not built up and he goes 28 pitches, they would have taken him out around the 20 to 25 pitch limit. They let him go because they knew he's built up. So that kind of showed me that if he did have a pretty quick inning, they probably would have let him go back out for the second inning. But at the end of the day, it was super encouraging to see Shohei on the mound. Now, again, he didn't have the sharpest of command, which is exactly what I thought would happen. Obviously, he gave up the 1 run, threw a lot of pitches, but what has to be encouraging is how electric he was. So I was really interested to see what his velocity would be at. The last time Shohei pitched, he was averaging just under 97. Pretty much would sit anywhere from 95 to 97. He's always had the 98 plus in his back pocket. If you remember in the WBC when he famously struck out Mike Trout, that inning, I was actually there at that game, by the way. I was in person. Shohei was touching 102, which is like spring training, early March. He was literally throwing 102. So I was interested to see what his velo would be at. His four-seam fastball averaged 99.1 miles an hour. The sinker averaged 97.4. He topped out at 102 miles an hour on the four-seamer, 98.9 on the sinker. So basically, he was sitting 90 to 100 miles an hour, topping out at 100. The stuff was electric. I thought it was interesting early on, he was throwing more sinkers. If you look at it, the first few fastballs he throws to Tatis and to Arise, he threw a lot of sinkers. He ended up throwing 10 sweepers. That was the most often used pitch. 9 four-seam fastballs, 8 sinkers, and then he threw 1 splitter. So he relied heavy on the sweeper, and then his 2 fastballs only threw 1 splitter. I believe that was to Gavin Sheets. So it was really encouraging to see his stuff. And you know that Shohei is going to have his command locked in. His command was actually not too bad. He didn't have any walks in the inning, I believe, but went to a full count on Tatis, fell behind, battled back, gave up the single, a rise single, then another long at-bat to Machado. He gets the sac fly. Then another long at-bat to Gavin Sheets, then eventually Bogart. So his command, all in all, his command was actually not horrible. It's not like he walked 2 batters or anything like that. He was just kind of struggling to put hitters away when he was ahead, and he didn't get ahead too often. So to see his fastball that explosive. Now, obviously, he was super amped up. Dodger Stadium was rocking from the moment he stepped out of the dugout to throw his warm-up pitches and stuff like that and throw in the outfield. So, obviously, his average fastball is going to come down. He's not going to sit 99 miles an hour on the year. But it's really encouraging to see that he threw that hard and kind of held that throughout that inning. The last couple pitches he threw were 95, 96. But at the end of the day, the fact that his fastball was that electric, it's really encouraging to see that he still has that velo and stuff like that. Don't really have to be concerned about his velo. Again, that will come down, but to know that he's got the 98, 99, 100 in his back pocket is really nice. It seems like he has developed the sinker a little bit more. That's the most he's probably ever thrown a sinker in a game. or the highest usage. Obviously, only one inning, but 29% sinkers. And the way he was using it in that first inning tells me if it was a normal start where he would have went 4, 5, 6 innings, he would have used a lot of sinkers. And he actually threw it to both hitters. So I'm curious to see how his pitch mix develops as he comes along. His next start will be this weekend against the Nationals, so we won't have to wait too long to see him again. We will see him twice in the same week, so that's pretty cool. So the stuff was electric. His sweeper also looked really good. It had an average spin rate of 24.15. In the inning, he had 3 whiffs. 2 were on the four-seamer, 1 were on that sweeper. So it's really encouraging. We'll see how he continues to look and build up. But this first start, I know it's only 1 inning, so I don't want to overreact, but this one start kind of told me and is getting me excited. It kind of tells me that he actually could overtake Yamamoto as the ace. Now, it would take a lot for that to happen, but with that electric stuff, again, it will come down a little bit, but with that electric stuff, and his command will get better, he'll mix in a couple more pitches and stuff like that, I think he has the opportunity to overtake Yamamoto, which I wouldn't have thought or guessed before I saw Shohei pitch. I would have guessed Yamamoto is going to stay the Dodgers ace no matter who comes back. We'll see where Shohei works in. He was that electric to where I think if he can, once he gets his command figured out and gets more built up, the Dodgers might go into a postseason series and thinking he is our best pitcher, the most talented pitcher we have in terms of starting options, and we got to start him game 1. Quick adrenaline rush, and then he'll be out. So, of course, with the new rules, he's able to stay in, which is cool. So, quickly, we'll talk about the bullpen. Obviously, Shohei only goes the 1 inning, so Anthony Bonda came in. He's continued to pitch better. He's got his ERA down to 3.62. Ben Kasparius did give up 2 earned runs. One of them was on that home run. He's been getting hit around a little bit more lately, but he's still been really dominant. His ERA is right at 3 now. But Vesia, Kopech, Tanner Scott, and then Kirby Yates all looked really dominant. Those are all the high leverage guys the Dodgers are going to use for the remainder of this year. We'll see if Blake Trinan can come back, and we'll see who else gets added to the fold. But pretty much those 4 guys are expected to be the dominant relievers: Vesia, Kopech, Scott, and Kirby Yates. Yates has continued to look a little bit better, and then Kopech's command is still up and down, but he's still got electric stuff. So, and then lastly, the offense. Once again, Dodgers offense puts up a lot of hits. 10 hits, which is kind of the magical number I'm starting to figure out. When Dodgers get 10 hits in a game, they're going to win. They took advantage of 2 errors from the Padres, but once again, hit with runners in scoring position. They were 5 for 13. Shohei had 2 hits and 2 RBIs. Obviously, Mookie had 1 hit. Will Smith continues to rake with runners in scoring position. He had 2 hits. That'll wrap up Game 1. We'll keep it moving, try to speed things up a little bit. So we'll go to Game 2. Game 2 was played on Tuesday. Jack Dreyer is the opener in this game. Another kind of bullpen game. He goes up against Randy Vasquez. So, in the first inning, Gavin Sheets puts the Padres up 1-0 off of Jack Dreyer. Sheets, Dreyer, Dreyer, Sheets. Then in the second inning, Max Muncy hits a sac fly to tie the game. Then Andy Paz comes up and hits a line drive home run to left field. So that was really cool to see, especially after the drama in the first game. Andy Paz got hit by Cease, kind of stared out at him, kind of overreacted. It didn't look like Cease hit him on purpose. We'll get to all that and hit by pitches and stuff. But it was kind of a cool moment. Paz gave him the death stare. I made a nice TikTok out of it. And then we know there were some comments, Machado after the game. So Luis Arraez brought in Martin Maldonado, and then Gavin Sheets hit a sac fly, so they go up 3-2. But then right away, Andy Paz hits another home run, his second of the game, his first career multi-homer game in the regular season, 15th of the year, ties the game 3-3. Then Will Smith, a great at-bat against Estrada. I forget if it was 10 or 12 pitches, but he just kept getting heaters at the top of the zone, kept fouling him off, which is kind of weird because Estrada's best pitch is his splitter. He just wouldn't throw the splitter to Will Smith. He only threw it a couple times. Then Will Smith on a 3-2 count, homers to left center field to put the Dodgers up 5-3. That was a pretty electric moment. Paz brought in another run on a bloop single, 6-3 Dodgers. Tommy Edman then doubled to make it 8-3 Dodgers. Trenton Brooks, Not familiar with his game, but he gets the call to the Padres. He makes it a 8-5 game. And then later on, Michael Kopech balked in a run. But the Dodgers win by a score of 8-6. So Jack Dreyer for 2, Lou Trevino for 2, Matt Sauer comes back and pitches 2 1/3. Michael Kopech for 2/3 of an inning, Anthony Bonda for 1, and then Tanner Scott for 1. So Dodgers win 8-6. Tanner Scott gets the save. He continues to look very good as of late. So in this game, quickly, we'll just talk about the offense. Pages and Will Smith. Can't say enough about those two. I just wanted to highlight how good they've been with runners in scoring position. So as it stands on June 20th, 2025, which is Friday, the best hitters in baseball with runners in scoring position. Will Smith is number 1 in all of baseball. He's hitting .433 with runners in scoring position. Andy Pages is 7th in all of Major League Baseball at .371. So they are 2 of the best 7 hitters in baseball with runners in scoring position. That's pretty crazy, especially Andy Pages, who his rookie year had some swing and miss, some chase and stuff like that. He still does tend to chase, but he's just completely turned his game around. And then obviously Will Smith is just having a career year. He's been one of the best 10 hitters in baseball this year. So I broke down Will Smith recently, so I won't talk too much about him. But those 2 guys have been crazy for the Dodgers lineup, especially in the current where the lineup is at lately, where the top 3 guys, that 3 MVPs, are struggling a little bit. Especially like Freddie Freeman and Mookie. Shohei's been swinging and missing. So lately it's been guys like Muncy, Will Smith, Andy Pages who have been swinging the bat well. Tommy Edman as well. So really good game. Dodgers take the first 2 games, score a lot of runs, get a lot of big hits with runners in scoring positions. So now we'll go to game 2. This was another exciting game to look forward to because of Emmett Sheehan. So in the top of the second inning, the Padres get on the board 1-0 on Elias Diaz single. It was a catchable ball from Tommy Edman, but it bounces off of him. Then Andy Pages hits a sac fly to tie up the game. Dalton Rushing would hit a single into right to make it 3-1 Dodgers. It would stay 3-1 Dodgers all the way until the 9th inning. Jay Cronenworth brings in Luis Ariz, and then Alexander Bogaerts brings in Manny Machado. So it was a blown save for Justin Robleski. We'll get into all that. And then, of course, in the bottom of the 9th inning, Will Smith hits a pinch hit home run to right field to win the game. Walk-off home run, pinch hit walk-off home run. Dodgers win by a score of 4-3. So Emmett Sheehan, Justin Robleski combined for the whole game. Sheehan goes 4, Robleski goes 5. Robleski actually gets the win in the game. So I'm going to quickly talk about Sheehan and Robleski. I apologize, guys. I was having trouble with my camera, so just doing regular pod right now. Emmett Sheehan, it was a really good start from Emmett Sheehan. He goes 4 innings, gives up 3 hits, 1 earned run. Like I said, it was on that single. No walks, and he has 6 strikeouts in the game. So Sheehan also had 10 whiffs in the game. I thought he looked really electric. I thought his command also was pretty good. He had 3 whiffs on his 4-seam fastball, 4 were on the slider, and then 3 were on the changeup. So, again, if you don't know much about Emmett Sheehan, he's always had a really good fastball that plays up in the zone well. We've talked about induced vertical break and how good that is to have on a 4-seam fastball, especially at the top of the zone. He averaged 18 inches of induced vertical break in this game, so that's pretty nasty. He had maxed out at 19 inches. Like I said, he had 3 whiffs on that fastball. He averaged 95.2 miles an hour on the fastball, maxed out at 96.7. So his fastball was really electric, and it plays good upstairs. He also had a really good slider that also had 4 whiffs, and then his changeup has also been a good pitch. And they talked about on the broadcast that throughout his rehab and stuff, he has said that his changeup has been the most confident pitch that he has, and it's come along really nicely. So what's really weird and which caught me off guard is that they actually optioned Emmett Sheehan after the game. So they came out and said that they needed to create roster space with other relievers and stuff like that, and Emmett Sheehan will continue to stretch out in the minor leagues. So he's not eligible to come back up to the Dodgers until July 1st. So it's about a week and a half. So it was a little confusing at first, but after the Dodgers kind of explained it, I at least somewhat get the rationale. So hopefully they don't do any funny business with Emmett Sheehan. I'm assuming he'll come back up on July 1st and will stay in the rotation. So it's a little bit weird after he pitched so well and was kind of getting excited to see him. But that's just where the Dodgers are at with a lot of their injuries. They kind of have some weird stuff going on. He'll be back at some point. And then I just wanted to talk about Justin Robleski and give him a lot of credit. Obviously, I've talked about before Robleski. I never really thought he was that great of a big league pitcher. Again, I think he has really great stuff and could be a solid pitcher. But he goes 5 innings, gives up 1 earned run, 3 strikeouts. Obviously, he couldn't shut out the game, let up those runs in the end. But his stuff is really ticked up. I wonder if the Dodgers will look into him being a reliever or a long man. His stuff, like I said, ticks up. It's kind of funny. His average four-seam fastball in this game was 97, tops out at 99. He throws a lot of sinkers as well, so he's got a lot of really good stuff. He's got a really good cutter as well, so it looks like they could end up finding a weapon with Robleski. They obviously wanted to keep him on the rosters as a guy that can come out of the bullpen and pitch multiple innings. So, and then obviously Will Smith hit that walk-off home run. That's pretty crazy, pretty sick. It was a cool moment. That's his 3rd career walk-off home run, and I believe they're all pinch-hit walk-off home runs, which is kind of crazy. So now we'll just go to the last game. Game 4, Yamamoto was on the mound. This was the one game the Dodgers did not win. So Xander Bogaerts gets the Padres on the board 1-0 in the 2nd inning. Then Jose Iglesias gives the Padres a 2-0 lead. Eventually, Jake Cronenworth would make it 3-0. Padres would extend their lead to a 5-0 lead. Dodgers took out some of their starters at this point. Yamamoto pitched into the 7th, but didn't get out of the 7th. So then, of course, in the bottom of the 9th, Dodgers put together a little bit of a rally. So Tommy Edman makes it a 5-1 game. Hae-Sung Kim, RBI groundout, makes it 5-2. Then on a, I don't know if it's a wild pitch or if it's called a balk, the ball got under the catcher's protecting gear, Maldonado, to make it 5-3. But then Dalton Rushing would strike out to end the game. So the Dodgers lose 5-3. So quickly, I'm going to run through this game, and then we'll talk about some of the rivalry stuff and all that. So Yamamoto definitely did bounce back and have a little bit of a better start than he's had as of late. We know that he struggled a little bit as of late. He goes 6 1/3, does give up 7 hits, and there was some hard hit balls, 3 earned runs, but no walks, 5 strikeouts. So he definitely pitched well enough, but he once again continues to get no run support. So Yamamoto on the year has 6 wins, 6 losses, even though he's got an ERA of 2.76. Again, wins don't really matter and stuff, but Yamamoto has been really good this year. Unfortunately, just can't get any run support. So still been one of the best pitchers in the NL. Again, he's come down to where he was when he was looking like the best pitcher in the game. Right now, his expected ERA is 12th in all of baseball, as well as his expected FIP. So still one of the best pitchers in the NL, one of the best 10 pitchers in the game probably. But with the lack of command we've seen as of late, sometimes giving up a little bit more home runs, his numbers have come down a little bit. But he's still the Dodgers' best pitcher. Still love to see him pitch every 5th day. So that's pretty much it. Really, the story of this game, of course, is the hit by pitches, the bench is clearing. I just wanted to give my opinion on some of that stuff. So, of course, I said this. Game 1, Andy Paz got hit by a pitch by Dylan Cease. It was a fastball up and in. Just got away from Cease. Paz kind of reacted, staring out at him. Kind of ruffled the feathers of Mike Shildt, the Padres manager. But then Paz responded. It hit 2 home runs in the next game. So, again, Fernando Tatis got hit a few times. Shohei Ohtani got hit a few times. It's always funny when stuff like this happens, especially between two teams, especially the Dodgers and the Padres, because they're such big rivals and the fan bases really don't like each other and all that. Online and on Twitter and stuff like that, there's so much talk about like fake tough guys, like people calling Dave Roberts a fake tough guy, Mike Shildt is a fake tough guy, Fernando Tatis is a baby, Ohtani, like everyone wants to give their opinion. and everybody has their thoughts of who's a real tough guy, who's a fake tough guy, all that. I think it's kind of stupid. I just think, like, at the end of the day, this is a reason why there's no question that this is a rivalry, in my opinion. I don't really know how you can't say it's a rivalry. I continue to say that. They clearly don't like each other. I've been saying that before this entire weekend. They do not like each other. Clearly, Schilt and Dave Roberts don't like each other. A lot of the players, like, you could tell Manny Machado doesn't like the Dodgers, Tatis. So, I mean, it's a rivalry. It's the best rivalry in the game right now. It's the most electric. It's the most fun to watch. Everybody wants to tune in and see this. So when it comes to all the hit by pitches and stuff like that, I actually think that, ironically, even though the Dodgers hit Tatis a lot, I think that the only time that a hit by pitch was done on purpose was when Shohei got hit twice. I think that when Paz got hit, it wasn't on purpose. I think every time Tatis got hit, it was not on purpose. I think that when Randy Vasquez hit Ohtani, that was on purpose. And then I think when Robert Suarez came in on a 3-0 count and hit Shohei up and in with a fastball, I think that was also on purpose. So I do think that the Dodgers have a legitimate beef there, that they did hit Ohtani on purpose. But if you want to talk about old school baseball is, if you pitch up and in and you hit some of our guys, don't be shocked if we retaliate. Mike Schilt had all the reason in the world to be upset like he was, especially when Tatis gets hit up and in the hands like that. He could break a hand, break a finger, be out for 2 months or something like that. So he had all the reason in the world to be upset and to be mad about that. But I think at the same time, Dave Roberts had all the reason in the world to be just as upset. We're not trying to hit you, anything like that. It was a young rookie that came up to make his debut, pitching up and in. So not trying to hit anyone. But again, just the teams don't like each other. The hit by pitches just add extra drama. Again, I think it's funny when everyone tries to kind of decipher who's tough, who's not, who's overreacting, who's not. I think at the end of the day, nobody likes to get hit, whether it was on purpose or not. When the hit by pitches start to build up, you rightfully so are going to be pissed, like some of the Padres players were. And when you feel like that happens, you might decide to retaliate like the Padres did. But when that happens, when you go out and hit someone, the best player in the game, the best player in the Dodgers, and it looks like it's on purpose, the Dodgers are going to back up their best player. And so at the end of the day, it's two teams that don't like being hit, that don't like each other at all, and they're not going to back down from one another. So I thought it was great TV. I thought it was great when Dave Roberts came out and bummed Schilt. Again, I don't think like Dave Roberts is a fake tough guy, but I don't think Mike Schilt's a fake tough guy either. Mike Schilt, they both look like they were ready to again, people like to evaluate. I remember like when Joe Kelly back in 2020 mocked Carlos Correa on a strikeout, and everybody loved that and thought it was really funny. But then there's also people who think, oh, well, Joe Kelly struck him out and then he ran and hid behind his teammates. So there's really no winning. Every time stuff like this happens, the team, both sides, fan bases are going to stick on their team. They're going to say, oh, my team is this tougher, more badass team, and your team is a bunch of babies, and you're all scared. So it's always going to happen. Like I said, they mocked Joe Kelly, and everybody knows Joe Kelly would fight anybody. I mean, look at the bench. Look at the fight he had with the Red Sox and the Yankees back in the day. So that's all my thoughts on that. Again, the Dodgers and Padres are the best rivalry in baseball right now. Again, historically, the Giants and Dodgers are a bigger rivalry, of course, but right now in 2025, they are rivals. The Padres are current rivals of the Dodgers. I don't really know how you could deny that. It was really great stuff. So I'm not going to do a preview series on the Nationals-Dodgers series. I've had a lot going on. I unfortunately don't really have enough time to do that. So the Dodgers play the Nationals this weekend. Nationals come in really cold. They have lost, I think, 10 of 11. They will face Mackenzie Gore tonight, one of the better lefties in baseball. He's got electric stuff. He'll go up against Kershaw, so good lefty-lefty matchup. Gore probably grew up emulating Kershaw, so that's pretty cool for him. So Dodgers will have a tough matchup in Game 1, but the Nationals have been very bad as of late, have a bad bullpen. Starting staff's not great. Other than James Wood, they don't have much firepower offensively. So I'm really looking for the Dodgers to get a sweep this series. I'm looking for 3 guys to break out, and that's the 3 MVPs. Shohei Ohtani, Freddie Freeman, Mookie Betts. Especially Mookie and Shohei. Freddie, if you asked him, he would tell you he's been struggling, but Freddie's still going to find a way to get hits and stuff. Would like to see him get more extra base hits and stuff like that, but I don't really think Freddie's been super cold. Shohei's been striking out a lot, and then Mookie has just been popping up and rolling over a lot. His numbers are starting to get into a concerning spot, but I still believe in Mookie Betts because he's been one of the best players in the game for 10 years. I think he'll turn it around, continues to play great defense. Shohei, would like to see his bat start to wake up a little bit. I'm looking for the 3 MVPs to break out this series. Guys like Muncy, Will Smith, Edmonds been better, Angie Pages, of course. All those guys have been playing really well lately. I am looking for the 3 MVPs to break out this series. So that's going to wrap it up. I apologize that my camera went out in the middle of the pod, but we're able to finish. I'm sorry that I couldn't do a preview series and dive into the Nationals. I will be back to review this National series on Sunday, as well as previewing the series after that. I forget who the Dodgers play, but I know they're off Monday, so I'll be able to preview the upcoming series. So, as always, you can get this podcast on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Follow us on all social media at Talking Blue Pod. Follow myself at Talking Blue Nick. Thank you guys for listening. We'll see you guys on Sunday to recap the Dodgers and the Nationals.